Most daring crimes, Richard Hacker's child abuser in Malaysia, described by mainstream media as Britain's worst ever pedophile. A British man turned his sexual profession into reality when he committed a series of gross sex acts against children in Malaysia, Cambodia, and possibly the United Kingdom. Upon investigation, his internet and social media habits gave away his location and identity, bringing an end to his heinous crimes as he was arrested by officers at Gatwick Airport when he returned to UK for Christmas in 2014. A false pretense as a philanthropist, born into a middle-class family in Ashford, Kent in 1986, Richard Hacker was described by many as a love and alone. After dropping out of school, Hacker left for Malaysia in 2005 to spend a gap year helping out at local churches and communities. He presented himself as a philanthropist and a freelance photographer, and began returning to the country regularly before moving there permanently in 2010. Undiagnosed to many as Hacker built trust among these communities, he had secretly targeted, groomed, and abused the children he met, a recurring habit he kept up for over 8 years. The grisly record he kept initially called for posts about his victims on the dark web. Hacker was granted bail before getting arrested again after he confessed to his parents that he sexually abused children aged 3 to 13 years old. While masquerading as a practicing Christian who cared about health, Hacker kept a diary and admitted to giving children alcohol and drugs, proudly sharing his abhorrent actions online, holding over 20,000 entries in media of his assault on children. He planned to make a business out of his exploit, creating a guide for others to follow that he intended to sell, no rest for a criminal. The latest statistic by PDRM of pedophiles in Malaysia in 2020 is 1,721 cases. What about your thoughts about the case?
Have you ever heard or encountered the word pedophilia? Pedophilia. What is pedophilia? Pedophilia is defined as a sexual interest in prepubescent children, and pedophilia is legally defined as sexual child abuse. Children victimized by sexual abuse are more often affected psychologically and emotionally, manifesting in their behavior. Do you know that it becomes a problem when there is a lack of knowledge about danger of pedophilia in terms of the meaning, factors, and implications towards children, and also there is a lacking of research or study made on the pedophilia cases involving awareness among students. To overcome the problems, we have conducted a research on the topic, the awareness among undergraduate IIUM students regarding the crime of pedophilia on children. In conducting our research, we have prepared 3 specific research questions as follows. First, what is the level of student knowledge of pedophilia? Second, what is the level of student awareness on the risk of pedophilia to children? And third, to what extent the punishment towards pedophilia offenders? Continuing from the research question, we have made up 3 research objectives. First, to identify the level of student knowledge of pedophilia. Second, to examine the level of student awareness on the risk of pedophilia towards children. And third, to acknowledge the punishment towards pedophilia offenders. Moving on to the literature review, we have chosen 3 articles that are related to our topic to be analyzed. From what we get, the article focuses on the factors that contribute to behaviors of pedophilia. First factor is pedophilic factors. It focuses on the perpetrator factor that led to the occurrence of pedophilia, such as men with influence of social media. Loss of moral values and lack of self-control will be considered as high pedophilic risk. In contrast, family environment factors focus on the family dysfunctional, children emotional and sexual abuse that are causing them to become victims of pedophilia. Through the study, the community can also increase their knowledge about the crime of pedophilia and together combat this increasingly alarming crime. The result of one of the studies show that parents' awareness of pedophilia is really high.
Now, moving on to the methodology of research, and this includes three parts, which are research design, data collection, and data analysis. The design of this study used a quantitative approach in which we use a convenience sampling with 30 undergraduate students of IIUM in Gombak are selected non-randomly as our sample. Survey method, which is questionnaire, is used to obtain information and answer the objective of our study. It consists of 4 parts, which are demographic question for part A, part B, students' knowledge on pedophilia, part C, the level of awareness on pedophilia, and part D, punishment towards pedophilia offenders. It also involves 15 items in total with 5 Likert type scales, which is between 1 to 5 for strongly disagree to strongly agree. And this score was analyzed using SPSS. We come to the last part of research methodology, which is data analysis. The results shows that the students' awareness is high, which means IIUM students are aware about the existence of the crime. This can be seen through the study where majority give high score in part B, which is the knowledge about the pedophilia. Around 77.5% strongly agree with the statement that they have heard and know about pedophilia. Then, 85% of respondents also aware that pedophilia is a serious crime and should not be ignored by society. And last, around 67.5% of the students agreed that the punishment for married offenders is stoning to death. To conclude, this study has discussed in detail about the level of knowledge and awareness on pedophilia. Indeed, it also discussed about the punishment of the study. Findings of the study clearly shows that the level of the knowledge and their awareness is at a good level. Summarize that pedophilia is a serious crime that should be prevented by the society and should not be ignored. Perhaps this study is very significant in terms of its contribution towards awareness of public, parents, schools, local authorities, and others. Besides that, education also is another basis of preventing pedophilia. Children must be taught to avoid situations that make them exposed to pedophiles. Last but not least, knowledge and awareness regarding pedophilia crime play an important role for the well-being and the safety of the children.